All right, let's make sure that we are on. See here. You such and suches and so and so's. All right. Right. All right. See here. All right. Let's go here. All right. So Mike Perkins here. One half of MVP, one half of Mike and Vince Perkins, one half of Opinions I Like Podcasts. This here, I'm the whole show. Um, today. If you see the title, you see the title, you saw the thumbnail. I'm thinking that the manosphere, the space as a whole needs better critics. Better people who come up with things that are not like just straw man arguments. We've had an influx of a lot of the talking about traveling. My last two videos were about the new dude on the scene, Mr. Austin Holloman. I've been spelling his name wrong. I've been spelling it Hollerman. So I got to do better about his name. Uh, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? I went over to his channel, showed him some love. He checked out the video that I did on him, you know what I'm saying? And yeah. So I mean, it did a little bit of numbers. One of the better videos that I did. So I really appreciate that from him. He probably sent some people my way. And that's always love. Um, Snap, but we are needing new critics, new and better critics. You get the same things like with a guy like Austin Holloman, like the last video I did, you had a woman in the chat insinuating that he was gay, with his hand movements and his voice and the way that he carries himself. It's just, you know, and it's like an obvious, thing. Like when you hear women say, "Oh, I think he's gay," it's just like, yeah, of course you would. Of course you would call him gay, because you don't have anything else to say. Of course you would call him gay. Of course you would say that you know, he can't be masculine. The only reason he don't like here has to be because, he's gay. You know what I mean? And it's just the same old nonsense time and time again, you know what I mean? But I expect that from women. I mean, I think we all expect that from the women, you know what I mean, when it comes to the traveling thing, that women are going to just do the things that they do, whereas they just really um hate is everything that they can do to hate. You know what I'm saying? You date out of your race, you hate. You date interculturally, you know what I'm saying? You get hate. You know what I'm saying? You go overseas, you get hate. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you do, you're gonna get some hate. They're gonna call you gay, they're gonna call you weak, they're gonna question your manhood. That's just a part of the game, and you really can't do anything with that. And I just think like that part is gonna be it's gonna be what it's gonna be. The problem that I have is when the dudes do it. When the dudes question your masculinity, in regards to you traveling, in regards to you dating interculturally or interracially, when dudes question that, when dudes question traveling as a thing, whereas, you're somehow you somehow can't get women here, so you have to go over there as if the option to go over there is a have to more than a get to, because you get to go over there. You don't have to go over there. It's like if they don't have what you want at Foot Action, then you get to go to Foot Locker. You don't have to stay there because that would be ridiculous. It's just like, well, why couldn't you find anything at Foot Action? It's like because they don't have nothing I like, you know. And if dealing with traditional, you know, American black woman don't work for you, and then you choose to do something like Afro Cuban, Afro Latina, or whatever in a culturally date, regards to like Nigerian. Ghanaian, whatever, Nigerian, whatever. I mean, not Nigerian, but I mean Nigerian if that's what you want to do. But if you want to date somewhere, that's not the same as, even if you want to date outside your city, which is crazy to me. It's just like dating outside of your city is even, to some people, like a stretch. It's like, oh, you dating outside your city, you must can't get no women inside your city. It's just like, nah, it's like I have the option, and it's a difference between getting to do something versus having to do something. Having to do something is a restriction. Getting to do something is about options. You know what I'm saying? And what a lot of times people do is that they really really confuse the two and say that you have to go overseas, as opposed to understanding that you get to go overseas, because it really really is about, your ability to kind of, when you improve, self improve, you really get, you get the spoils of that. You really get the spoils of that. Let me see here. Speaking of self improvement, you know what I'm saying, I know a lot of people, if they catch this, they'll catch this on the replay. But I want to do something here. Do something here. Do something here. Speaking of self improvement, um, we got like a workout tab. We got like a
See him. I see him out here. Okay.
we got a workout tab that we have. Um, whereas I'm saying, if you can see it, this is the VP of MVP. My brother here. Um, does a lot of the working out and everything. I'm in shape, but I'm not in shape like he is. You know what I'm saying? He's obviously in great shape here. You know what I mean? And this is what you call self improvement. You know what I mean? I run at least 3 miles a day. I get in the gym consistently. Um, I do all of the. Let me go back. Yeah, there you go. We do a lot of the working out here. A lot of the cardio. We run in 5Ks, 10Ks. You know what I'm saying? We talk about self improvement. We do a lot of that stuff, and that's a lot of that stuff in the another tab. It's tabbed workouts. And if you want to, you can check that out. You know what I'm saying? I'll be periodically just putting some of my brother's workouts, some of his inspirational videos and things of that nature on there. That's me and him running. You know what I'm saying? Again, we do all of that, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of self-improvement. And we always have been for that. You know what I'm saying? Self-improvement is just what it's about. You know what I mean? It's about self-improvement. It's about making yourself better. You know what I mean? Again, he's pretty ridiculous as it goes. That's one of the guys he works out with. Yeah, they get pretty ridiculous. They get pretty wild. You know what I'm saying? But this is what it's all about right here. You know what I mean? Working out, you know, cardio, all that, you know what I'm saying? My brother is wild when it comes to this. So just check that out. He'll be the one kind of like recording next to me, and when we do the opinions I like podcasts and things of that nature. Yeah. So let me take this off because, enough of that. Enough of niggas with their shirt off. Let's get to why you came here. Let's see here. So what we have here is, I got a video from the good brother. And he's a good sport, you know what I mean? He typically is, you know, he's typically you know, criticizing the manosphere, criticizing the space, criticizing men. Um and this is one of his latest joints, whereas he said well, I'm gonna play what he said. Unlike what he does, he really just, he sort of just says that people are saying things, and then never really he never plays the clips. That's what we do over here. We really play the clips. So I'm gonna play a few clips from here. Let's see here.
Oh, happy day. Man, it is a beautiful Thursday afternoon, man. I have to tell you, a lot of that manosphere nonsense has just been debunked once again. What happened to the looks, the money, the status, pre selection, jawline? What happened to all of that? Sexual currency? What happened to all of that? What you're seeing now is that all of that shit is nonsense. All of it. At the end of the day, if you want to win, you have to work on yourself.
Okay. First thing you said is that all of that stuff doesn't matter. You have to work on yourself. My question would be this, and this is brother Clarence, brother Clarence Jr., CJM. What I would ask Clarence is this, simply this. If you work on your looks, money, status, your body, um, I don't know if you can work on your jawline, but if you've worked on yourself like, Austin Holloman, then what is it left to do once you work on yourself to the capacity that he's worked on himself? Like, what is there left to do? Because I don't get it. Like, I think that what we do a lot of times is that we talk about something else other than self improvement when guys are saying, "Well, bump this, I'm out," because he said, "Bump this, I'm out." And again, this is not judging dudes, but like we know when a dude can get chicks. We know, like we clearly understand when a dude can get chicks, and this dude probably can get chicks because he's not talking about not getting chicks. He's just talking about, look, the pot ain't good. The pot ain't good over here. So when you say, hey, I'm gonna step out, that's not a matter of being defeated here. That's a matter of saying that it's just not a good pot here. This is not a good. It's not a good selection here. And when he moves on and goes overseas, Brazilian women. I mean, because like he put a post up of, I think, one of the women or the woman that he's talking to now. I think she's Brazilian. You know what I mean? I have no clue, but she wasn't an ugly woman. Like I said, it's not like he can't get women. It's just that he decided to move on. He's not messing with the woman in the West. You know, money, looks, status, all that stuff. That is working on yourself. You know what I mean? That is actually working on yourself. Like he's already starting off with the nonsense. But let's keep going.
Regardless of how tall you are, how good you look, how much money you have, any of that. If you want to be successful with women, you have to work on yourself.
Again, I would ask, what is working on yourself if you're not working all of these things? Like all of these things are working on yourself. You know what I mean? You can work on looking good. You can work on having better money, better status. You know what I'm saying, which in turn helps pre-selection. You can work on all of those things. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't, I like we need better critics, man. We need better people who are going to actually like be critics, but have something more to say than these straw man arguments. And then, like again, not being able to to land the kind of woman you want here is not an admission of failure. It's just, hey, my pot is the world. It's like 8 billion people in the world. You know what I mean? Half of that is women, and then half of that are grown women. You know what I mean? So we're talking about 2 billion women in the world. What would be the odds of the woman that he's supposed to be with being in Dallas out of 2 billion people? As if, the women that are in Dallas are the only women in the world. And like that be the thing. Like the last few times, just ask CJ what's wrong. what's working on yourself, and he will say self-esteem. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he doesn't understand what working on yourself means. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he understands what working on yourself means. You know, to him, it's like something, that isn't, I don't know. I think he thinks it's spiritual, or I don't get it. I never understand it. Hopefully when you have him on your show, hopefully you know what I mean? It's like it seems like it's supposed to be what the the 15th or something like that, Jackie. You know what I'm saying? But I want to be around, so just let me know so I want to be over there when it happens. But yeah, like he thinks that working on yourself is self-esteem. I don't think that this guy has a lack of self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that he has a lack of self-esteem. I think that what he has is, just a propensity to say, I'm not taking a bad deal. And since he's not taking a bad deal, that's not him. Okay, cool. It's Sunday. I'll be over there. I'll make sure I'm over there. Yep. But yeah, him not taking a bad deal is not a matter of him admitting loss. It's like, again, when you have options, you take your options and you go where it is that you can get those specific qualifications. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's stupid. It's like being from, let's say, and this is with all due respect, let's say you're from Baltimore City or Baltimore County. I mean, I don't know if that's the name of the county, but let's say you're from Baltimore County. What are the odds that out of 2 billion women in the world, the woman that is for you for the rest of your life is actually from the same county and went to the same college as you? What are the odds that out of 2 billion women that that woman would be the one for you? You know what I'm saying? And if you've never dated a woman outside of your county, then like you couldn't understand going to Brazil, you know? Like if you've never even dated a woman in another time zone. Like the last couple of women I've talked to, you know what I'm saying, or kicked it with, been in a relationship with, last few have been from other cities. They've not been from Michigan. They've not been from the Midwest. They've been from other, you know what I'm saying, time zones. Even that gives you more options. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should be like, oh, shaming you because you don't pick a woman from the west side of Detroit. That's dumb. And you self-improve enough to travel. So like he's self-improved enough to move around and travel. That's what it's about. It's about being able to move around. And granted, you know what I'm saying? And this guy's 23 years old. So like it's not like he should be able to make that decision early if that's what he's making. You know what I mean? And again, if he wasn't who he was, I'm pretty sure somebody would come out with a YouTube channel debunking this dude, saying, "Oh, he ain't this, he ain't that." I'm pretty sure. You know what I'm saying? But like he just doesn't like I just don't think CJ understands how hypocritical he sounds or how much of a hater he sounds. Because it's not really even hypocritical. I mean, I guess, I'll get to the point where it's hypocritical, but it's like he doesn't understand how ridiculous he sounds in the fact that he's probably picked a woman from the DMV, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then this dude has the option to pick from 2 million women as opposed to maybe 100,000, 50,000 women or whatever, or maybe even less than that, because we're talking about the same city, black women and women that are like from your same area and have your same age or whatever. He gets to pick from 2 billion women literally because he's young enough to do so. You know what I'm saying? And he has enough access and ability to move around. Like he should be commended for that. You sound like a hater. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to it. Let's keep cooking.
I'm actually glad this brother is blowing up because this is debunking all of the talking points. How is it that the looks, money, status guy got to go overseas? How is that? If you've been paying attention,
Gotta go overseas. This guy doesn't have to go overseas. He doesn't have to go overseas. He gets to go overseas. He doesn't got to or have to. He gets to go overseas. He gets to go and pick from 2 billion women as opposed to the, maybe 50,000 women that you have to choose from. Because you have to. You have to. He doesn't have to. He can choose from the States, or he can choose from South America. He can choose from Africa. He can choose from Australia if he wants to. He can choose from wherever he wants to because he doesn't have any kids, with all due respect, and he's not attached to any woman, with all due respect. He doesn't have to do anything. He can do, or is allowed to do, or gets to do anything that he pleases, because what he's doing is operating in his own best interest and ensuring himself the best option by making 2 billion women his pool of women that he's picking from. And I commend that. Because even for me, let's say there's it's 330 million, but let's say 300 million people in the US. You know what I'm saying? Divide that by 2, that's how many women are in the US. So 150 million, and then half of that, 75 million women. So 75 million women. All of those women are in my pot because I will go to LA. I will go to New York. I will go anywhere I want to in the States. Even if I do that, that still gives me a bigger pool than just, and I don't have to, in order to get, you know what I'm saying, the quality or the kind of woman I want. I get to do that because I've self-improved, because my money is enough, because my status is enough, because my looks are enough. Because you go to certain states, excuse me, you go to certain states, you can't just go in there, and you can't just go to New York and be an average guy in your city. You're gonna go to New York and lose. Can't just go to Miami and be a regular guy. You go there and you might lose. Some dudes have to stay, with all due respect, in their city. Some dudes have to pick from the DMV. Some dudes have to pick from Baltimore County. Some dudes have to stay in the DMV. They have to pick the woman that they pick because they've made decisions that don't allow them to pick outside of that. He doesn't have to. He gets to pick from 2 billion women. He didn't lose here. He just didn't pick here. He didn't lose. He just didn't pick here.
What you're seeing is that the problems with women are expanding. First, it was just ADOS black women. Then it was just, then it was all women who may not be black, but they still identify with black culture. And now it's all the women of the West. Before you know,
Yeah, it might be all the women from the West for him. It may be. That's his opinion. That's his life. His life is that the women from the West are not his cup of tea. It's a cultural issue. He doesn't identify or want to identify with his mate being from Western culture. So, yes, for him, it is a culture issue. Those women identify with American culture. He said they flaked on dates. He spoke about the hygiene, which is crazy. That's the crazy part. The hygiene part is really, really crazy. You know what I'm saying? But he's spoken on hygiene. He's spoken on, you know what I'm saying, the attitude. And that's a very Western thing. There's nowhere in the world where women can jump in your face and get away with it. And I don't advocate for violence, but I mean, as a baseline, everywhere else in the world, they kind of understand that violence is an option. I don't advocate for it, but I'm Western. So that's probably why I don't advocate for it. But the fact that women can jump in your face here, women can take your kids away from you, women can do all sorts of things without any kind of consequence for those actions. That's not indicative of the kind of culture that he wants his woman to be involved in. And I commend him for being able to make that decision because it is culture. Culture is a virus. Culture is the water that you swim in. It just is with culture is the air that you breathe. You don't get away from that. You got to go to somewhere else. You got to get to some better air. And to him, the better air is in Colombia, Brazil, or wherever he chooses to go. This man doesn't have to leave. He gets to leave. He gets to leave. The fact that he gets to leave is not indicative of a loss. It's indicative of a win, and it's indicative of improvement upon oneself. Because you can't make the moves that he's making and not self-improve. And this is another question I would ask Sir Sir Junior. If you believe that this guy isn't self-improved, tell me where you're better than him at. Like, I would ask, where do you think you're better? Do you think that your confidence is higher than his? Because it's not like he's speaking with mad conviction. He is not speaking with any kind of, he doesn't hesitate. He says what he means and means what he say. It's just that he's speaking matter of fact about a culture that he doesn't necessarily jive with. And he has the option to leave. And I commend that. He gets to leave. He gets to say, bye-bye. I'm not dealing with this anymore. Bye-bye. That's crazy that anybody else would say, you know what? I don't think you should be able to do that, because if you do that, that means that you lost here. That means you're not good enough for here. Who says the women here are the cream of the crop? Just like who's to say the women from Baltimore City or Baltimore County or whatever are the best women in the freaking world? Did you get the best woman that you wanted? And if you think you got the best woman that you could get, it's pretty ironic that that's where you're from, and the woman that you chose was the best woman that you can get. That's ironic. It's kind of a coincidence, or not ironic, but it's kind of coincidental that the best woman you can get was the woman that you're with, from the same county or from the same area that you're from. That's a coincidence that the best woman in the world is the woman that, and this guy gets to go and try to get the best woman in the world for him. And you see that as a loss? You see that as a lack of self-improvement? I don't understand that. How's that lack of self-improvement? That seems like he's self-improved enough to actually be able to make those moves, because those are not moves that you can make. He doesn't have any kids. He is not attached to a woman. You know, he doesn't have a bad reputation. He likely, because he's so young, he doesn't even have debt like that. And he's a barber. He's a barber. Like, the fact that he has all of these things going, and you know, he has a popping YouTube channel that's probably gonna hit 100,000 pretty soon. The fact that he has all those things going for him should speak volumes as to his self-improvement. He's more than self-improved. Shit, he's at probably like 15,000 now as we speak. And you mean to tell me a guy that went from 0 to 15,000 in probably like 3 weeks is not self-improved? You mean to tell me a guy who's probably 5'11", 180 pounds, you know what I'm saying, who gets in the gym is not self-improved? A guy who has raised his status enough to be on the internet and be very well known is not self-improved? A guy who can say what he wants and then go and gets it is not self-improved? A guy who is an entrepreneur. I mean, barbers are pretty much entrepreneurs. Like, where's the lack of self-improvement at? Because it's not that he feels bad about himself. He feels so good about himself that he's not going to settle for less. And he shouldn't. He feels so good about himself that he's saying, I'm not going to settle for this nonsense. And the problem is, a lot of people who can't make those decisions deem that a L. It's just like I had a woman in my chat, and not the chat in the last video that I made, talking about he has to be gay. What? What? He has to be gay because you can't fathom a guy not wanting to be here? You can't fathom a guy saying, nah, that's not probably what I want to do. Nah, I'm good. Like, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to be here when I cannot be here? Like, I don't get it. He can make those decisions. We should applaud him. We should say, you know what, dude? Keep going, bruh. Keep going. Because you making the next generation of dudes understand that they have choices outside of here. because here ain't it for him. Here ain't it for Austin. Austin said he wants something better, and I commend him. He should be able to go. But let's keep going.
You know what? It's going to be all of the women on planet Earth. And even when it gets to that, you're still going to be blaming women instead of looking at yourself. And that's the problem. You know, I went on this young brother's IG page, you know, and I noticed that he posted a Mother's Day post, but he didn't post a Father's Day post. Right? And so my question to you guys is this. To a lot of you.
Man, here we go with the mothers and fathers stuff. Like, that's the thing I never get about, like, daddy issues. Like, we need better critics. We need better detractors. We need better people that really know how to even have, because I welcome, like, people who are critics of me. I welcome people who have something to say about what I say. I welcome it. Because at the end of the day, if you have something to say against us, you know, that makes me better. But if you're just gonna come with the same nonsense of, oh, it's mommy issues and you need to, you know, yeah, it's mommy issues and you need to or it's daddy issues. And if your daddy was there with you, then maybe you'd be better. It's like, dude, like, that's the corniest shit on the fucking planet. We need better critics. We need better people who are going to actually, you know, take us to task or hold our feet to the fire. Cause this ain't it, bruh. This ain't it. None of this, your daddy wasn't there, and that's why, like, how we know this dude don't have his daddy there? Cause he don't want American women? And he's going to Brazil. There are more black women in Brazil than any other place in the world other than Africa. Like, come on, man. Like, where are you at? The second most amount of black people are in probably South America. What are you talking about? What, he hates his mama or something? He got daddy issues? This be the corny shit, and this is the thing that Clarence and guys like him won't do. Clarence and guys like him will not ever, ever play the clip. Just play the clip. I had a show I had what's the young lady? Melanie. I'm calling her a young lady. She's 40. That Melanie was on, and Melanie had she said something about Brazil. I mean, like, she said that there's custody issues over there, which is trash. Like, that's not really, you know, a thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the gay comment comes when they don't have a logical rebuttal to being exactly. It's like calling somebody gay. It's just like, that's the lamest thing in the world. And it's the same thing with you got daddy issues. So my daddy wasn't there, so that's why I don't want to be disrespected. That's why I don't want to be around women who are not necessarily like the fact that he talks about the pH balance is fucking crazy, man. And I haven't seen anybody, like, I haven't seen any woman go hard on what it is that he said in that regard. Like, I haven't seen any women do that. You know what I'm saying? See here. Because many women are have an overinflated value of themselves. They think they don't want to fuck me, so they must be gay. That's the problem. Like, if you don't want to have sex with, I just don't want you. That's what it is. I just don't want you. That's normal. He thinks he has to be broken. That's CJ's whole mentality about black men. He doesn't understand that black men could turn out well in this community. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Plus, CJ is that kid that you give the broken controller to. I mean, I would say that about him. He's a good sport, man. He's a good sport, man. He's just lost. Like, when he went on Bernard's show and all that tough talk that he's saying on here, you know, in this video here, he wasn't saying none of that. He just wasn't. He refused to say any of that because he know they eat him up. Like he got another post, and I'm gonna go to it where he's talking about SYSBM, you know, and all that tough talk, all that. It's just like you gotta chill that out because bruhs in the space are giving you grace. You know, they haven't like they alluded to it. Like a lot of the talk that he's talking is absent. Marrying his own kid's mom, and that's like, and that's no shade to him. But don't you think that you would, Clarence? Don't you think that you would be more righteous in your opinion of 70% of the women are good to go if you marry the actual woman that you have? I mean, I would assume that she's part of the 70% and she's good to go. So why not marry her? You know, saying I don't want to rush into anything when you've already got kids and you already been with her for 12 years is kind of that's kind of weird. I mean, like I don't know. And then you're talking about this dude who, I mean, with all due respect to you, he's not overweight. He doesn't have any kids. He's not married or attached to any woman. And he is exploring all of his 2 billion options. This nigga did it the right way. And he did it early. He's not tied down to somebody in his own city. This dude been out for long enough and got enough popping platform for women to come forward and say, "Oh, he ain't this, he ain't that, he ain't that, he ain't this." There's enough dudes that hate too much logic. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm Logic Mike. I'm sorry. I need to be Unreasonable Mike. You know what I'm saying? Unreasonable Mike will probably be a little bit better than Logical Mike. Logical Mike never works for people. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should say you need to work on yourself and find your inner being. Find your inner being. Something like that. Something like find your inner self. But no, it's like, with all due respect, he's not overweight. You know what I'm saying? He clearly hits the gym. He's a 23-year-old dude. He's an entrepreneur. It's like he has all of the freedoms that you have foregone by impregnating. And I'm pretty sure she's a lovely woman. I'm pretty sure she's a lovely woman. I'm sure she's a lovely mom and she has your kids. I'm sure she's a lovely woman. But if you're not marrying her, then his decision to do what he's doing makes more sense. Because you're not even marrying the woman that you live with and say is a part of the 70%, quote unquote. Because if she's a part of the 70%, you should be getting married. But you're not. Because there's a culture problem. There's a cultural problem. Otherwise, you would marry her tomorrow. Because that's what dudes want to see. Peace, I'm listening. That's what people want to see. People want to see you get married. People want to see you carry out all of this talk that you're talking about. Because what it's going to get to, and I'm telling you, dudes is not going. I tell you what, dudes, like the video. Thank you, appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And two, if you can, I'm at 294 right now, and I just need 6 more subs. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody in here who's not subbed already, please get me to 300 during this live. That would be wonderful. I would appreciate that. Just greatly appreciate that. Let me see here. Let me see where I'm at. See where I'm at. Yep, still at 294 as of like 2 seconds ago. So if you give me the 300 today, that would be lovely. You know what I'm saying? But what was I saying? This guy, you know what I'm saying, had done all the self-improvement that you can do. And all everybody wants to see is you get married so you can carry out all the things that you say is right. Like if you think everything you're saying is right, it's a knock to your point for you to not be married to the woman who you say is what you need her to be. She's everything that you need her to be. But she's not marriage material because she's not a wife. And you haven't made her a wife. And if you want to make her a wife, that'll probably help your point with regards to what black men need to do. That'll help your point. because you married the woman that you had kids with, because you did the right thing, because you're spiritually grounded or you have the self-esteem. It's not a self-esteem issue, sir, or else you would be married. Because I'm knowing you're not saying that you're not confident. I know you're not saying that you're not self-improved. I know you're not saying that you don't have it together. Because if you don't have it together, then you need not judge anybody. When you see people who do have it together, you need to congratulate them. You need to congratulate them. There are no guys in this space that you can say unequivocally cannot not get a woman. Just can't get a woman. That's not even a thing. There are no content. Most of the content creators have a woman, or at least have had kids. And that's your conclusion to everything is you got to work on yourself. That's very vague, and that's what I also find. Like when I talk about finances, I'm very, very clear. I work for a financial institution. I'm very clear on what my plan is financially, and I give that to people. My plan always is get completely out of debt. Make sure that you're investing consistently, whatever you can invest, depending on how much money you got. If it's $200 a month, do that. Make sure that you own your house, and make sure you have life insurance. Those are tangibles. I don't say, hey, become a millionaire. You got to work hard and hustle and become a millionaire, because that's not tangible. Work hard, hustle, and you'll get to that money. Get to the money. Get to the bag. That's not tangible. But if a person is out of debt, owns their house, has life insurance, and invests consistently, and they can do that early enough in their life, that's a tangible or tangible things that you can do that will give you tangible success. Where's the tangibles at? Work on yourself. He had the nerve to say, like, don't stink, as if dudes are walking around just stinking. Like, that's really the problem? Dudes are stinking. That's the problem. So a dude that stinks, all he need to do is wash his butt, and then all of a sudden he becomes a better guy. Cause that's the problem. Dudes stink. Like CJ, dude, you have the most straw man arguments of all time. The most straw man are nobody in a straw man argument by definition too. This space never talks about anything else but self-improving. There are whole channels based on the idea of tech. You know what I'm saying? There are whole channels based on being in IT, you know what I'm saying? Software engineers. They have discords and things of that nature. Theo Wolf, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, then I think like 30 or 40 dudes. He didn't up their salary to, you know, to six figures, which is crazy, by the way. You know what I mean? Because that's just a bunch of men walking around being self-improved and being able to make the same moves that Sir Holloman can do. They can go wherever they want to go. And you should be able to go where you want to go. Because a man should be able to write his own ticket. Like I say, even I haven't traveled to Brazil, you know what I mean? But I can at least go to the West Coast. You can't even go to the West Coast, bruh. You can't go to the West Coast. You can't go down south. You can't go nowhere to get a girl because you're locked in. And for a guy who's 23 and not locked in, you got smoke for him? Or not even smoke. You're saying somehow what he did doesn't work. It's working. It's working. You think he ain't getting more clients, you know what I'm saying, to cut hair? You think he's not getting more YouTube followers as we speak? Like, let me go to his page. Let me go to his page. Because I think that's necessary. It's necessary for me to go to his page. Austin Holloman. It's a little artistic picture for you all. Let's go. All right, this dude got 13,000, yo. 13K. Just yesterday it was 12. You know what I'm saying? Or 11 or whatever. It wasn't 13. By the time you get to 13 and 12 and he eventually get to 20 or whatever, and maybe he doesn't hit 100 before the end of the, for the end of the week or for the end of the month. But like when you got 13,000 followers, like you making YouTube money, yo. He has a suit. You know what I'm saying? He stays in shit. Like, what else do you want this dude to do? He just don't like the crop of women that's here. He doesn't like it here. He's like, nah, that's not, I don't like this. He should be able to do that. He should obviously be able to do that. Let's see here. And the debunk part is really what's frustrating. It's just like, dude, you don't even know what you're saying. None of this stuff debunks anything. That's the funny part. Like none of the stuff that he's doing, like what he is, doesn't debunk anything. It actually proves that the more you improve on yourself, the more options you have. Because his options are the world. 2 billion women are his options. 2 billion women's I sound like OGJ Speed, like I'm off that juice. OGJ Speed in the flesh. That's what you sound like mostly, though. Speaking in circles and not really having a point. It's the craziest thing on earth. This dude has improved himself to where now his pool of women is 2 billion. That's great. Let's get back to the video.
How different would your experiences and outcomes with women be if you had a father growing up? Seriously, I'm talking about living in a 2-parent household, mother and father married, living in the house. How different would your experiences be? If when in middle school and you had your first little crush, your first little heartbreak, and your father told you to get over that girl. Or your father told you, hey, certain types of women are dangerous. They look good, but they don't mean no good for you, and they're going to mess you up. If your father told you how to dress and he introduced you to his cologne collection and he introduced you to how to approach and how to talk, how would it go? How different would you?
Like, do you think that he doesn't know how to approach women? Do you think that this guy has a I don't know how to approach women problem? That's the dumbest thing on the planet. He has the option to go wherever he wants to go. He's beat the game. He's beat the game. He can go wherever he wants to go. He's beat the game. He never has to choose from the pot that he doesn't want to go. It's literally like being in your own city and picking the same women. And then saying when you leave the city for better women or just different women. Fuck better. Because really, let's say they're not better. Let's say Brazilian women aren't better. They're just different and he wants different. Fuck better. Because I think better is the word that we're using and we're overusing better. Just better suited for him. Let's just say they're different. Just like me not, the last few women I've dated, they weren't from here. They weren't from Michigan. But let's just say he wanted different. Not better, just different. Right? There's no certain height, just different. There's no certain weight, just different. Right? I want different. If he wants different, he has the option to get different. You think this guy doesn't have cologne? Are you fucking serious? And meanwhile, you haven't and my problem is that guys without options will try at least to make guys with options feel like they're running away. Feel like you're running away from the women. Like, nobody's running away from these women. Nobody has to run away from these women. That's not what this is about. This is certainly not about running away from women. Are you bugging? He's not running away. He's not losing. He's not a guy who can't get women from here. Like, look, man, women from here are easier to get than you think. And not here as in Michigan, but here as in the States. When women from any other space go and they well, any other women from here go to other countries, you know what they think about them? American women? They think they're whores. That's what they think. When our women leave here, they think they're whores. They think they're whores. They're not thinking that those women are good for marrying. That's why you don't see a lot of them go. And this is another thing too. 75, 80, probably 85% of the world operates as a patriarchy. So where do you think our women, or any women from that matter, from America are going to get the kind of men that are going to allow them to do all the things that they get away with here? And the only reason that because you can't make a woman do anything that she doesn't want to. And these women clearly don't want to do the right thing. Our women, particularly, are 25% married. It's not like they're good for, if they're 75% or 70% good, then they should be able to find rather husbands anywhere. And then you got black men who can leave this motherfucker and go somewhere else to actually get wives, and they're being shamed for it, as if, oh, you can't get a woman in the States. No, I don't want a woman in the States because I want something different. He's saying he wants something different. Let's not even go to better. Let's just say different. He's a guy who has the option to do it. He gets to do it. You don't get to do that because you don't have the option, because you haven't self-improved enough to be able to do what he does. You've made decisions that restrict you from making the kind of decisions that he gets to make. He gets to go anywhere he wants to go. He gets to choose women from Brazil, from Egypt, from freaking Switzerland or whatever. He gets to do that. You don't get to do that. You have to stay in Baltimore City because you've made decisions that haven't allowed you to go anywhere else. And as soon as you try to leave, look, man, I hope that you marry her. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I hope you marry her. I hope you marry her. I hope it lasts forever. But until you do, this 70% number that you keep throwing around is bullshit. This niggas need to self-improve to get better women is bullshit. Condemning guys who have the option to go anywhere they want to in the world and exercise that option, condemning those guys, bullshit. Talking about the manosphere or anybody else doesn't hold themselves accountable, bullshit. You need to do more shows on why you didn't marry, why you ain't married yet. That's when we'll believe you, because you're not holding yourself accountable. You're making excuses for yourself. I'm not ready. That's all you got? And I'm going to leave with this. I would hope that one of your kids is not a daughter, and that your daughter is seeing you be with your kid's mama for 12 years and not have her married. Because I would imagine that you ain't going to allow your daughter to go through that. You're not going to allow your daughter to go through that. Nobody would. I don't have daughters. I only got sons, but nobody would. Nobody would allow their daughter to go through that. Any dude would be like, nah, not my daughter. I'm not having that. I'm not having that. You're not going to let your daughter go through that. So why are you putting somebody else's daughter through that? You got to clean this up. That's the only way your content makes sense. And you don't see the hypocrisy in that. And that's the crazy part. The crazy part is you don't even see that you're a hypocrite. You don't even see that you're a hypocrite. You got the nerve to talk about a guy who self-improves so much that his pool is the world. 2 billion women. That's his option. 2 billion women. And your option is Baltimore City, the county. That's your options, the Tri-County area. And he has the world. And you're condemning this guy? No. He took his jawline, his money, his status, his pre-selection. He took all of that shit. And that's what he did. He said, I'm going to take that over the world. Because what he is, it translates over the world. Self-improvement, the nigga learned Portuguese. He learned a whole nother language in 8 months. Do you know a whole nother language, Clarence? Do you know a whole nother language? Because this nigga does. So he's built up a YouTube channel. He's probably got a good clientele with regards to being a barber. Barbers are entrepreneurs. It's a skill. It's a trade that won't be going nowhere no time soon. Niggas need a haircut. He's done that. He's made himself the money, the status, whatever. He stays in, and this is the dude that you got smoke for? What else does he have to do? And he's exercising his options because of that. What else does he have to do? He has to stay here and pick a black woman so that he can prove that he's tough enough and strong enough and manly enough to go through it with a black woman. Because that's what it is. Just say that. You need to stay here and go through what I'm going through. Impregnate a woman and then make her submit. How about I do it the right way and I don't have to do all of that? How about instead of doing it the way you did it, which is putting the cart before the horse, how about this young man actually find somebody that works for him by using his opportunity and his options, which is the world, and then saying, you know what? Let me go and actually make the right decision and marry before I make a woman carry my kid. And I'm not thinking you're a horrible person. I'm just thinking that maybe you need to take some of your own advice. But that's gonna be the end of this. I'm almost at an hour, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all the love. Hopefully I can get over the 300 before, you know what I'm saying, before the day is over. And this again is Mike Perkins, one half of MVP, one half of Opinions LA Podcast, one half of Mike and Vince Perkins. And I am out.